It's
Welcome to Inspiring Hope with Lois Herman, a leading expert in professional coaching, clinical hypnosis, and energy clearing. Lois is an award-winning author of Chronicles of Hope. She has decades of experience in advanced hypnosis techniques, has conducted highly effective success coaching programs that have helped clients discover ways to achieve success, empower themselves, their families, as well as holistic practitioners to expand their practices. Get ready to be empowered with your host, Lois Herman.
Hello, and welcome to Inspiring Hope. I am your host, Lois Herman, and I'm here to inspire you with positive messages as we celebrate everyday people who are making a difference in our world. When we focus our thoughts and energies on what we love to do, we create powerful shifts that cause us to be more positive and peaceful. As we lift our energy, we empower everyone around us. If we each do what we can to make small shifts in awareness, from kindness to healthy habits and simple happiness, we create ripples of hope. Join us as catalysts for positive change for our families, our communities, and our world at large. I hope you are inspired by today's show. And today is a very different kind of show. I've got two guests on in a few minutes, but I want to just share with you that until recently, I had not fully realized the strong connection between politics and spirituality. I've long kept church and state separate. For me, politics was for those who were in the power of governing the masses, and spirituality was for those who wanted to evolve their consciousness and be of service to others who wanted the same. In the political world, they say people are divided into two-thirds. Two-thirds are passionate about their own side of the divide, and one-third who really don't care. They're indifferent, too busy to think about, or tend to leave the decisions in someone else's hands. For the most of my life, I fell into that camp. The single mother, medical, holistic professional, and spiritual seeker that was way too busy to really take the time to understand what was going on in the world of power and control. That awareness changed for me about 4 years ago, and really accelerated over the past 9 months. Now, most of you know that my background involves spiritual-based hypnosis sessions where clients have an opportunity to meet their loved ones and their angels only after they have cleared the negative energy from around themselves. For over 30 years, I've been involved in regular battles with the dark side, clearing individuals and their families of draining energies and entities that have interfered with and controlled their living hosts. And I've done the work silently, in the shadows, and have only recently started talking about it through the books I was asked to write, starting with The Spirits of Amoskeag, The Wounded Heroes of the Manchester Mills, and followed by the Chronicles of Hope series. In reality, these books are provided as information offered to the public to teach others to recognize the influence of negative energy and learn ways to keep their energy clear, strong, and protected. I've been asked time and again by my guides to teach others how to clear the energy around themselves and give them ways to keep their energy positive, uplifted, and strong. This is actually the intention of this radio show that I started over a year ago, or about a year ago. A good news show that inspires people, inspires hope, when the media paints everything so dour and negative. Right now, I have to say I am truly blessed to be surrounded and supported by a team of amazing people who are able to delve into the shadows with me. These dedicated spiritual friends and associates are able to see the energy in and around people. Together, we work with the angelic realm to clear the darkness and bring in the light. I call them my A-team, my angel team. Over these past months, our team has expanded our vision to see what's going on a broader scale. We're able to look at the energy surrounding individuals, groups, communities, states, countries, and the world. I must tell you that right now, the battle of good versus evil is raging before our eyes. Our team clearly sees the darkness pervading those of one camp with the intention of pitting one against another and the end game of controlling the world through fear, anger, isolation, and division. This is the battle that our powerful guides in the Chronicles of Hope book series have spoken of so often. The battle of love versus hate, peace versus anger, compassion versus greed. When first experiencing the hypnosis session with these wise ones in 2017, I chronicled them in Book 1 and Book 2. I had sensed the urgency in their tone of voice, yet my mind had placed the time frame at maybe 25 or 100 years in the future, which is still coming pretty quickly. There was definitely a sense of urgency, which drove me to publish the books as quickly as possible. However, I now know that their urgency refers to what is happening now. The tipping point of humanity referred to by the Anquietas, the God Ray, by Jesus, by Aurora, and others, is upon us right now. Many spiritually aware know this. We're indeed mired in the war of good versus evil, and many feel helpless as to what to do about it. You're listening to Inspiring Hope with Lois Herman at WSMN 1590 AM and 95.3 FM. And I just wanted to share that there are also many others on this planet who are completely blind as to what is really going on around them. Many people think of themselves as spiritual, yet they spew hate, anger, ridicule, blame, and shame at others who hold different viewpoints. Where is the spirituality in that kind of abuse? A few days ago, I was verbally attacked by an esteemed man who claimed to be very spiritual. His destructive demeanor and condescending attitude spoke to his real truth. I was shocked. Our guides tell us we must come from a place of compassion and kindness toward others, to invite people to question their beliefs, to help them to shift their energy toward a clear state of mind, a clear state of peace. Yet, if one embodies anger, hate, and the need to control, they must find ways to shift themselves. There is nothing we can do except to walk away from toxic people with this kind of negative energy. I'm seeing it on Facebook, and it's shocking me how people mock and make fun of others. This is not spiritual. This is mean. This is unacceptable. I recently heard someone say that spirituality is not just about rainbows, unicorns, and fairies. True spiritual warriors must stand up for truth, integrity, and honesty without name-calling or degrading others. Someone else said, somebody's got to clean up the mess from the unicorns and fairies. Somebody has to stand up for truth. We must stand for what we know in our heart is right, is true, and ask others to question what they've been programmed to believe. There are many who are dedicated to humanity, to what is honest, right, and true, yet feel hopeless and helpless as to what to do as their voices are censored, blocked, and drowned out by the dark side. We watch the corruption pervading, invading, and tearing apart our society. To these people we say, hold on to the light of hope. Truth will win. Our angel team has expanded recently to form a larger Lightworker Alliance, who's been meeting very regularly. We clearly see beyond the veil of illusion. We are doing what we can to shift the darkness, to shine the light of truth for all to see. and we inspire others by planting seeds of hope for humanity. We have the ability to completely see the battle of light and dark that's infecting humanity. We know, beyond a shadow of doubt, what is going on in this drama that is playing out before our very eyes. And we hold strong in our work to shine the light of truth on the shadow side that I've been speaking about for months now. Know in your hearts that the light of truth will win. Our angelic guides are ever with us for support, and they tell us they want us to trust the process, trust each other. And this week, I began drafting the sessions to include in the Chronicles Book 3. However, I found the information and insights shared by the wise ones of the collective to be so timely and critical that I must share them with you now. This information is too important to wait for the next book. In a session with the Archangel Azrael, the angel of death, he specifically references the political situation we are currently experiencing in 2020. What I have come to realize over the recent events in history is that these messages given in Chronicles are more incredibly timely than I had ever expected. Azrael suggests that the people must rise up against oppressors, as our American founding fathers did. These were the individual people who stood against the establishment, which at the time was the royalty of England. We are now facing the battle of the common people against the long-standing political elite on both sides of the divide, whose plan has long been to enslave the masses for their own power and fortune. Azrael tells us to look at what the early Americans achieved via revolution, saying that evolution would be the preferred method to enlightenment. However, there are so many in the evil swamp of destruction and desecration that the concept of allowing the process of evolution to occur is no longer a valuable option. We must rise up against the negative forces to embrace our power in the light of truth. We must join together as warriors of light to encourage a spiritual revolution, to see the people free from corruption. Azrael gives us clues as to what each of us must do. First, we must know of the light and dark. My A-team of energy clearing professionals has long dealt with dark energies and entities around individuals. However, these past months, we've been clearing the darkness in droves by the millions from around the controlling overlords of our world. It's been an eye-opener to see how insidious the darkness has been and continues to be. These negative entities often are like curses that have been sent to control others and drain their energy. Sometimes people pick them up based on associations with others who seek to control. They can even be passed ancestrally or via past life connections. I've been dealing with these nasty energies for over 30 years and admit that only recently have discovered the ability to cast a broader net, to capture and shift these energies worldwide with a dedicated team of light warriors. In addition to helping people see the reality in the light versus dark war that is raging around us, we must all question and separate from some of our long-standing beliefs. We must learn to think for ourselves and look beyond the false illusions that have been planted in our minds. Listen to your own hearts and instead follow your heart instead of the dictated mandates by the mouths of the oppressors. Do not listen to what you are told to believe in all aspects of your life, but think for and find out, dig for yourselves, ask the questions. You may be shocked into a new awakening, which will ultimately help to reverse Earth's tipping point. I find it interesting that the gentlest of archangels who visited with us, Azrael, think of him as the angel of hospice, is the one who incited the most passion for revolution, to stand up for those who are stuck in mind-controlled illusions, whether by innocence, ignorance, or indifference. Each of us must wake up to what is going on around us and step into the light of truth, honesty, and integrity. We have been given the chance right now to change the path, the trajectory of humanity. If we lose this window of opportunity, we may be facing a major setback. Azrael also says there may be another end result. There's the issue of the mother spirit of your world, he says, which you call Gaia. Her patience is vast, but not infinite. You already see signs of what's happening. She may take the decision out of your hands. We cannot say one way or another if that would happen, or what the effect might be if it did. They tell us we have a particular fondness for humanity. We would not like to see it perish, and so we offer these words of wisdom to you. So everyone, let us join together in the light of truth to awaken the power of love, light, and intense passion for all things goodly and godly. To learn more insights into how to help humanity reverse the downward spiral of destruction, you can read the messages in the Chronicles of Hope books. They share important guidelines for bringing the peace we need to our civilization today. They offer a recipe for what we can do to be aware, to shift our energy to the positive individually and collectively. You can purchase the books on Amazon or at the chroniclesofhope.net website, where I'm putting their messages out to the world free of charge. We also welcome you to join our Inspiring Hope community discussions that are held via Zoom the second and fourth Thursdays of each month. You can register at the website. Together, our mission is to shift humanity's energy as catalysts for positive change. Join us to spread the word of peace. We can reverse this negative curve. Join the spiritual revolution. You are listening to Inspiring Hope with Lois Herman at WSMN 1590 and 95.3 FM. And today, I am delighted to be joined by two of my Angel Team and Alliance Team members who are able to see, sense, and feel what is really going on beyond the obvious, beneath the veil of illusion. Together, we're going to shed some light on what we feel people need to understand, to feel safe, confident, and at peace with the ultimate outcome for the highest good of humanity. Please help me welcome two incredible women, Kathleen Kubacki and Carrie Klaiber. Kathy, are you with us on the phone?
I am indeed, Lois. Thank you for having me.
Hello, Kathy. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and we'll introduce Carrie in a minute. She's here with me in the studio. So, Kathy, tell us about your background and how you managed to get into this world of Beyond the Veil.
I come from a background. I spent 20-plus years as a massage therapist and recently shifted gears. I'm a transpersonal hypnotist, which means it's more spiritually based. I am an advanced energy clearing consultant and an advanced Akashic record reader. And my passion is seeking truth and doing research. And I consider myself to be a spiritual healer.
And Kathy, what have you seen over this past, let's say, 6 months or so in the spiritual world, where we know or we see what's going on? Some of us see what's going on in the political world. Some of it is being masked from the masses. But what do you see beyond the veil? What have you experienced?
As a member of the Lightworker Alliance, I feel privileged to have been part of this team that goes in and looks at things from an expanded viewpoint. And at hover over nearly everything. And to be part of the team that's clearing a lot of that darkness. I feel hope. I prefer to stay in gratitude, love, light, compassion, kindness, because we are one nation under God. And I feel grateful to see this clearing, because I feel that truth doesn't have a political affiliation. It's an entity unto itself.
Well said. Very well said. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you for being a part of my A-Team and the Alliance team. And thank you for being here today.
It's a pleasure and a joy. Thank you.
And I'd also like to introduce Carrie Klaiber, who's with me in the studio from Maine. So you had a bit of a drive down this morning, Carrie. Thank you for being here.
I'm grateful to be here.
Tell us about you. You need to speak up a little closer into the microphone, my lady.
I'm a holistic nurse, and what that means for me is that I have come from a place of being taught how to consider health, and through my own experiences found that what I was taught was limited. And so I've taken it upon myself, since a near-death experience and being a mother, to look into alternative ways of seeing joy, peace, and hope through the embodiment of being human.
And so you've been a member of the Lightworker Alliance. What have you experienced as we've been doing these clearing sessions? It's been a fascinating journey for the many who are part of this Alliance team.
I think primarily what I've experienced is, as you embody hope for truth to be exposed and available. And it was very, very unsettling to find how many places it's been covered up and hidden.
The darkness has covered up. The truth has been covered up and hidden, yes.
Yeah.
And it continues to be from most people, unless you've got that detective attitude to look beyond.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'd like to open it up to a lively discussion between these two ladies. We have discussions regularly, and we go off on so many different tangents. And so I'm going to let this unfold organically. But right now, the big thing that we are facing is the desecration of our Constitution, the fraud, that everyone as an American should be aware of. And I see this. I see the people who are fighting for truth and integrity. And that's part of, regardless of your political affiliation, that's part of what we should be standing for, is honesty and integrity, and coming from a place of asking the questions and not just accepting what you have been told at face value. So, Kathy, what are your thoughts about what you have discovered, uncovered, and what you have seen from your heart and from your mind?
Well, one of the things that I've noticed is there seems to be a rush, and there is no rush. Let this play out. Let all the truth be uncovered, and then let's go from that place, because I personally am in a place where I'm not going to engage with anyone's anger. It's dark and it's destructive. And I found that when people ask for my opinion, what they really seem to be asking for is for their opinion to come out of my mouth. And I'm sorry, I can't indulge that. Archangel Jophiel came through with a message in my meditation yesterday. And so I found it to be kind of profound. She said, it's time to wake up from your slumber, baby humans. Not babies in age, but babies in thought. Now is the time for you to be who you agreed to be before you incarnated here. Remember who you are. Remember who you were before the time when you were told who to be.
That's beautiful. And the Archangel Jophiel is an interesting one that should have come to you, Kathy, because the Archangel Jophiel is the bringer of light, and she is who our Statue of Liberty is modeled after, holding the light of truth. Did you know that?
I did not. She is just the most beautiful spirit. She felt like my most favorite babysitter ever. That message came through with such love and patience.
Yes, yes. And so she is bringing the light. She's been working with us for a while now, bringing the light of truth, shining the light on the darkness. And what happens is the darkness cowers in the light of truth, or they, and that's what's happening, is the light of truth is being shown, and the darkness is coming out. We're seeing it play out right before our very eyes.
Yes, we are.
And Carrie, what are your thoughts?
I find it so interesting that Kathy's using the word slumber, because that's how I felt when I was asleep, is that I was in a slumber, and it took being shaken to my core before I was ready to consider other possibilities from what I'd been indoctrinated into. I came from a family where medicine, surgery, dental practices were where people went and what they did in academia. And so my mind was filled with academia, which had its merits. And then I found, when I went in search of guidance, when I started having my own physical health challenges after this wake-up call, that was limited. And so I went in search of alternatives, because I was being handed prescriptions, and the prescriptions had warnings, and I had small children. And when I started to delve in deeper to say, why are folks comfortable with me taking these prescriptions and caring for small children? There must be another way to approach this. And so I went in search of alternative ways to see healing, and realized how asleep I'd been. And it's been an uncovering slow. As Kathy said, it takes time. And as Azrael said, we need to be taught how to fish, not given fish.
Exactly.
And so when handed a prescription, that's being given a fish.
That's right.
That's not being taught how to care for ourselves.
Exactly. And that's what we need to do, is we need to pay attention to ourselves. And that's further what Azrael said, is that we need to be thinking for ourselves. And Samael said that as well in the prior book, in the prior series, is that we must use our own discernment, that we have to get past the what we have been programmed to believe. And as I said 4 years ago, one of my consultants and I were looking at the political candidates at the time, and one of them was pure light. I don't want to say pure. One of them was light, surrounded by light. The other one was pure darkness. And from that was my first awakening into, there's more to politics than meets the eye. So I've just kind of sat with it for a while, but over this past 9 months since the whole COVID situation, and I was very sick in February, I went within at that point and was shown, even at that point, the disparity that's going on in our world. So I have delved more into politics over this past 6 to 9 months. It's like I can't get enough of learning, and the more I delve in, the more shocked I am. And it's unsettling with what's truly going on. I had the blinders on. I was too busy with being a single mom and doing what I needed to do to really pay attention. I just trusted that people, that's what their studies are. We're going to trust that they're going to take care of us. Well, no. Many of these people, it's all about service to self. These are people who are making big money at our expense. And this is what's not right. So we must stand up, and we must need to look at the agenda of both sides. What is the truth? Which one is bringing peace? Which one brings war and destruction? Look beyond the veil of illusion. I have been saying this for months, but I'm now coming out more strongly, because that's what Azrael says. You're not just writing a book. This is part of your life. You've got to speak up, and you've got to encourage people to think for themselves and not be led like sheep. We've talked about one of our favorite quotes from the book is that the meek shall inherit the earth, but meek does not mean weak. Meek means spiritually strong, connected, compassionate, aware. Meek does not mean sheep. Go for it, Kathy.
No, it absolutely does, and that's the thing. And I, with every fiber of my being, I resent being separated out as a Democrat or a Republican, a liberal or a conservative. You know, I have a quote from Henry Kissinger that made me think. It's from 1992 at the Bilderberg meeting in Evian, France. He didn't know he was being recorded, but he said, "Today's Americans would be outraged if UN troops entered Los Angeles to restore order. Tomorrow they will be grateful. This is especially true if they were told there was an outside threat from beyond, whether real or promulgated, that threatened our very existence. It is then that all peoples of the world will plead with world leaders to deliver them from this evil. The one thing every man fears is the unknown. When presented with this scenario, individual rights will be willingly relinquished for the guarantee of their well-being granted to them by their world government." And it's the world government piece of that made my antennas go up. We are not a world government. We are the United States of America.
Amen. And we play and we interrelate with others in their worlds. But that model of world government is dominance by a few to control the many, versus we in America, we revolted against that. We are individual people that need to be honored and respected for each what we contribute and what our passions are. We must respect one another. Yes, Carrie?
Yes.
What I've observed is that if we are kept in fear and shame, which are very low vibrating energies, then we can be manipulated and controlled. So why this inspiring hope and the messages of the collective are so vital is that we all need to take responsibility for keeping our vibration high in hope, in joy, in love. Because when we are in fear, anger, or shame, we are easily vulnerable.
Well said. And when we're in that low level energy, we don't hear the voices, the energies of the higher level. As we shift our energy to be that higher level energy of hope, of peace, of even acceptance, of love, then we can actually hear, sense, and feel the reality. We're looking from the world at a higher level, looking down, instead of in the bottom, feeling all the pain.
The other thing I learned as a healthcare provider was I went into the profession to be a rescuer. And in being a rescuer, I felt I had a responsibility to save other people. And that belief system takes away rights and freedoms from individuals. And in my intention of helping, I was doing harm when medicine is called to do no harm. When we impose our overarching ideas and beliefs about how other people's bodies should be treated, we take away their trust in their own capacity and innate nature of expressing themselves.
That's exactly right. And that's part of what the guides are saying, is don't tell people what to believe. Encourage them to question, to ask, to think for themselves. Because it's that mindset, mind control of the masses, what they've been fed by media, by dark, I want to call them dark politicians on both camps. They are feeding a narrative that is based on fear, isolation, guilt, shame. And that's what these people are doing. Even what I would have considered would be friends, spiritual friends on Facebook, mocking and laughing at people on the other side. that just is so disconcerting to me, because we must rise to a higher level of awareness and look at our beautiful world, this beautiful world we live in. We must celebrate the joy here and keep our energy high. That will keep our immune system boosted. That will keep ourselves energized and happy. And that's where we need to be, not in this low level energy of fear, guilt, shame, blame, isolation. That's destructive.
It is destructive. And even if you think you're on the same page with some of these people that post those memes on Facebook, as soon as they turn mean, you realize you're not even in the same book.
Right.
And I'll quote Kathy because she uses this a lot. That is by design.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Kathy, you had shared something with me the other day, and this comes from a woman who was very brutally abused. And you post, so you've been abused. So just put your glasses on so that you don't show your black eyes and get over it. Now let's all come together. Let me beat you up. But let's just forget about that and come together. Get over yourself. That's what these people are saying, and they don't realize how cruel they're being. How cruel.
No. And I understand, we need to come together, but let's find common ground.
Yes.
If come together means you come over and believe what I believe, then no, I'm staying right where I am.
Right. And a couple of weeks ago, Jacqueline was on, who is the improv comedian, and she had 4 little rules that she shared with us, and I swear those are the best rules to live by in any relationship. The first rule was always make the other person look good. The second one is answer, and I maybe have these not exact, but this was my takeaway. The second one is answer every question or every comment with yes and. So if someone espouses their belief, say, yes, I understand that's what you believe. And what about this? So yes, and pose a question. The third is be in the moment, right here, not thinking about somebody else, not being on your cell phone, not multitasking and being right there with the person right now, because this is the only moment there is right now. And the fourth is to lighten up, have fun. Our guides, Jesus is the one that comes through, and he says, you guys just take yourselves way too seriously. You guys got to lighten up here. You're humans. You should be experiencing all of this joy and the camaraderie and the friendship and all the goodness instead of just getting stuck in the muck of the negative. And I know we've been talking a lot about the negative, but that's what so many people are being inundated with. And people have to look around and find joy.
Well, that's the best part about it being Thanksgiving week, because every day should be Thanksgiving, and that's how I usually try to start the day, is with at least 3 things that I'm grateful for.
Absolutely, Kathy. Absolutely. And just to pause for the listeners, you're listening to Inspiring Hope with Lois Herman at WSMN 1590 AM and 95.3 FM. And today is a special day. I've got actually 2 guests here. Kathy Kubacki calling in from the Finger Lakes region of New York, and Carrie Klaiber, who's down here in the studio with me from Maine. And we're talking about the messages that came through these wise collective that need to be shared with humanity. They shared a wake-up call that our earth is at a tipping point right now. Right now. And depending upon where we put our energy, we may be going down a really dark side, a dark hole. Or we have the ability to awaken into a beautiful, beautiful paradise, golden age of Earth. We're entering into the conjunct of the age of Aquarius and Atlantis overlap on December 21st. Those solstice coming up. This is a huge, huge time. So we're in a time of major change. So there are people who have very strong-rooted opinions. And one of the things that Azrael, this angel that I just transcribed the session this week, one of the things that Azrael said is, when somebody thinks that they know everything, you can't change their mind. There's no more room for them to be open. And what these guides are saying is you must learn to be open. Because when you shut your mind and you believe and you're espousing and you're dominating other people with your belief, that is wrong thinking. That we must be curious. We must be like children and say, well, what about this? What about that? Think about this. Right?
I agree. From when I was little, I was that kid. I was, why?
Me too.
Yeah, my son was like that. I used to have to put him in timeout, no talking 5 minutes. Mommy's brain's tired. I was not allowed to ask. I was raised in a very children are to be seen and not heard household. So this is challenging for me to come out and speak truth. And yet I'm being called to do that. So this is part of what I'm supposed to do. And I'm glad to have people with me to share this opportunity.
I think we talked about some of the very simple ways to raise vibration when we were anticipating this call.
Yes.
And some things don't have to be so complicated. Just breathing, just listening. You can sing a song, dance, look at a leaf, watch a spider make a web. These things can remind us of the pure perfection and miracle of being alive.
Absolutely. Even though we are in our homes and have been for a while, there are so many things. Petting a cat, listening to the cat purr, communicating with the cat or the dog, it's being in that moment and celebrating the moment, the beauty that we have around us, being like the child watching a butterfly or a bird. Nature.
There is so much to appreciate. That's so true.
And Kathy, you walk every day on the lakes and you post your pictures every day, and they're so inspiring. Your beautiful pictures. And what's fascinating is almost every day you post a picture. It's the same lake, but it's always different.
It's different every day, and it takes my breath away every day. And it's not the pictures that I take. It's that I capture a moment in time where God gives us this endless changing scenery that one picture is more beautiful than the next.
And different pictures resonate to different people in different ways too, based on where they're at that moment in time.
And that's
Absolutely.
what's so true about our beliefs.
Yes.
I'm not the same person I was when I walked in the door this morning, and I won't be the same when I leave.
Because of the experience of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Being open to grow, to learn, to share, and to be at one. That is the message, is to be open, not closed. Let's look beyond.
Yes, that's the thing. I always try to find, I guess it would be called building bridges. I always, when I'm with someone, try to find all the things that we have in common, not all the things that are different.
And that's that yes and. Because if you say no but, those are stop words from the NLP perspective. No but stops. Your opinion no longer counts. But if you say yes and, that's a different energy. That's think about this. What about this? Who's to say who is right or wrong? It's not
Agreed.
for us to say. We're just here to ask questions. And that's one of the things that I realized when I was communicating with these amazing beings, is they would say, you must ask the question. We're happy to answer, but you must ask the question. It was like a game. Okay, darn, what question do I have to ask? So we get in this habit of, like Columbo, keep asking the questions, and then different answers come, and it's like, oh, I never thought about that. So it keeps that mind churning and spinning and open and curious. Curious is one of my favorite words. Be curious.
I giggle when you compare yourself to Columbo, because here you are, the gorgeous redhead, and Columbo's this disheveled man smoking a cigar. I
loved him. I loved that he was, just unassuming, and yet
yes.
He always got to the answer. Yeah.
Yes, and you do that very well.
Thank you. Thank you. Right now I feel kind of like Frodo. With these messages that came through, how in the heck do I get these out there? And, you know, I spent those 2 years working and spending so much money and effort on putting out books. But no, I just need to get the messages out there now. I need to get people to hear these messages because the messages are for the people to wake up, to be curious, to be open, to come from compassion, to get rid of the hate and the anger. Those of you who are posting these mean things, don't you realize that that's hate? Do you think it's
they do.
Do you think it's fair to call somebody a name? I was, you know, redhead freckle face growing up, so I got teased a lot. And my mother would say, sticks and stones may break your bones, but names will never hurt you. That's a lie. Names hurt. Words hurt. Making fun of somebody hurts not only them, but it hurts you. It pulls your energy down. All these people who think, I know better. No, you don't. Nobody does.
No.
We just have to ask the questions.
We have to find our own
do.
truth. Yeah.
And we have to know that there's insidious forces. That's that darkness that I've worked with for many, many, many years and seen it on an individual level. But over this past many months, I've seen it on a global level. And we have been taking these, I just call them nasties. Many people have different words for them, but they're just nasty. I mean, they're wow. And we've been taking them out by the millions, haven't we, Kathy?
Yes. And what we've used to do that is love and light and the light of truth.
Exactly. And so one of the techniques that we've been asked to do is to practice protective bubbles. And then on the outside of this protective bubble is we put a mirror coating that deflects anything negative. So when you know, the power of prayer is so palpable. We all know that prayer or sending good vibes and good wishes helps. Sending hate hurts.
Yes.
And so instead of, for people who send hate, what we do is we block it and we return the hate with love. So that at some point that person might feel that love. Because if somebody is sending hate, there's something in them that hates.
Yes.
And they need to shift that themselves. We can't do that. We can shift the negative energy, but and this is what these wise ones keep saying, is we don't understand why there's so much hate in the hearts of humans. And we can't shift that. The person must shift their own energy. They must choose.
And that's so empowering.
That speaks to what you were saying earlier, Carrie, about, you go to a doctor to fix me, but it's really up to the person to fix themselves.
I think we've been unlearned how to do that, and that's my hope with your messages, is that people will remember that they have the innate wisdom within.
Absolutely. And they have the ability to connect with the innate wisdom from above, because one of the things that they say is there is a cure for every disease, but the cure is unique to the individual. What's going to cure me is not the same as what's going to cure Stephanie or you, Carrie. Or you, Kathy. It's unique to where our energy, to what is going on in our physiology.
I always use the example of nuts. Everyone says nuts are so good for you. They're full of protein and they've got good oils. Until there are people who they're fatal to. Mm. And so we can't just say nuts are good for everyone.
That's right. That's exactly right. Everyone is unique.
Yeah.
And we're all here for a reason right now. Many of us who are very spiritually aware know in our hearts, our minds, our souls that we're here to bring hope, to bring positive energy, that the light is going to win.
Truth always prevails.
Truth will prevail, absolutely. Mm-hmm. And many of us have seen that. We have the ability to take a little glimpse into the future. And many of us have seen it. So we know in our heart to be at peace. Let go of the fear.
Yes, and everybody's voice deserves to be heard. Silence is only golden when it's of your choosing, not when it's chosen by someone else on your behalf. And I know that if we speak up, our voices will reach the heavens.
You're exactly right, Kathy, and so many people's voices are being censored and shot down. When you're spoken to. It's that same, someone thinks that their voice, their opinion is more important. And
it's not.
No, that's not fair. That's not what our Constitution says. Our Constitution says we have the right for free speech, the freedom of speech.
Yes.
We must be able to have our voices heard. The meek. Yeah. And this is part of, again, it was Jesus that said, there are more good people out there than bad. It's the voices of the bad that overshadow the good. They're louder, they're stronger. You need to make the voices of the good heard. And that's why we started this show, to make the voices of the good. I know so many wonderful, amazing people. We need to celebrate each other.
That's the best.
And so, Kathy, in this next few minutes to closing, what do you recommend to people to keep their hope up, to keep their energy strong, and to have their voice be heard?
I think probably first would be turn off the television. That there is nothing good happening there.
Mm-hmm.
Stop numbing yourself to what's happening around you and go within and listen. And then above and beyond that, love everybody like crazy. Laugh as much as you can. Dance it out. Sing. Do whatever it is that makes you feel grateful to be alive.
Beautiful. And hug people. We need contact. We need physical contact. We need hugs.
Yes, we do.
And Carrie, would you do us the honor of singing the show to the close?
I will. Thank you. Fly free from your nest in your grounded tree. Rejoice as your wings take flight. Your friends and your family and those not all known raise you up as you come to rest. Swing gently, swing softly amongst the moonbeams, remembering all that you are. Come home to your essence, your heart, your soul, as you sing your heart song for the rest.
Thank you, with the voice of an angel, Carrie Klaiber. Thank you, Kathy Kubacki, for being on the show with us today. Thank you, listeners, and we hope that you will be inspired by this show. Until next week, look up, stay positive, and be the light in someone's day. God bless.